Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube build series, Project Midnight. This video, me and Dakota are going to be installing all the accessories and making the bike look pretty. We're going to be working from the back to the front, and we are going to move you guys in a little bit closer. Dakota's going to be installing the rear tail light and the dwarf seat frame that we saw.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off on the dwarf seat frame. With every kit you buy from us, it's going to come with the instructions. 6 steps, super easy. So the first step is going to be drilling out 2 1/4-inch holes for this bracket. It's pretty simple. You'll put the bracket on, make sure it's even, and you're going to drill 2 holes. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And you want these to be 1/4-inch. You don't want them to be too big, because if it gets bigger, you're going to have the rivets are going to be loose and it's just going to fall out. So don't drill them too big. In our kit, we provide the rivets. They'll slide in, and they'll slide straight into that hole. The next part would be beneficial if you have a buddy. So what you're going to have them do is hold this bar down, and you're going to use a punch to hit the top of this. Having your friend hold that down will keep the bar from moving so it remains where it's supposed to be. I'm going to have Savannah do that now while I hit it with the punch. Do one more right there for good luck.
That was just
That's all right. So there you'll have it. Your first one will be installed. As you can see, it's nice and tight. Like I said, you don't want to drill these holes any bigger because those rivets expand, and if it's too loose, that bar is going to wiggle around. After you have that step done, you're going to go ahead and lightly install your seat frame so you can go ahead and line up this back one back here. So we'll go ahead and get that done. I'm just going to kind of show you guys on the instructions as we go. No need to put these tight right now because you're just checking to see where that next bracket is going to be. You hold the seat for me. Once that part's in, here's your bracket. It has kind of like a scoop to it. The scoop goes up. You'll see the 2 little rivet holes that need to be drilled. You'll put that in. Same thing, just loosely fit it. And after you do that, it's going to show you exactly where that bracket needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and drill those out. Same thing, 1/4-inch. Just want to make sure that it's even on both sides before you do. It might kind of turn a little bit. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. You're going to take your punch and you're going to hit them down. Now that's all done. Shake out all the little plastic pieces. But just like that, your seat is done. And you can actually take these off now. You know they'll line up. Because it's a little bit easier whenever you're installing this back onto the frame to have this taken apart. I'm also going to be installing the tail light real quick. So it's just going to be in my way. So we'll take it off so we don't scratch anything. All right, so next we're going to be installing the sweeper tail light. This one's pretty straightforward. Bolts on down here. And it comes with 4 self-tappers. You'll put them in. I'm going to mark them and then kind of do a pre-hole before I go through. Easiest way to do it is kind of pull your seat up and find out where it's going to sit the best at. I'm going to have Savannah mark them once I get it to where I think will be good. Let's go on that side. Now that's done, I'm going to do a pre-tap on each of these holes. So when I'm putting the bracket in, I don't have to scratch it all up. I'll take a little Phillips head and you'll screw them in. These will go really easy into these seats. You hold that seat so it don't move for me. And I'm just going to have a pre-hole here. So when I put the bracket back on, they slip right through. If you have a drill, you can definitely use drill, but we're just showing everybody you can do everything with hand tools. Once those are pre-tapped, you can put your bracket on and just run each of the 4 screws in there. I'd keep them loose because you kind of have a little bit of play, so you can move that bracket around and fine tune it when it's all said and done. And since you pre-tap those holes, these will all screw in nice and easy. You'll just do one final adjustment, just make sure everything's where you want it before you fully bolt that down.
We'll come back when it's all done. All right, as you can see, Dakota finished this. It looks really good. He did a great job. We are going to do the seat frames in a few minutes. First, we're going to be doing the throttle cables just so that the seat frames aren't in our way when we are doing it.
All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do, whenever you get your brake cable, slide this long brake cable down. You need to put it inside of here. You'll notice this won't actually, turn it this way, this won't actually slide in there. So you'll kind of have a gap here. So to clean that up, what you'll do is take a 5/16 drill bit and you're going to drill out the threads in here, and that will allow this to slip in to be nice and smooth. So I'll go ahead and get that started and I'll show you guys what we're talking about. As you'll see, now this will slip to be flush instead of having this tag hang out. So now it's nice and flush, just gives you a nice cleaner look. And you don't have to drill all the way through those threads. I kind of went about, try to put this in the camera here, kind of went about halfway. As you can see, here's the end. That's where I got, so about halfway with a 5/16 drill bit. And then you'll have this sit nice and flush instead of hanging out like that. Just to help you guys out, give yourself a cleaner look. Little details go a long way. If you have the brake switch, don't put this on first. So you'll put your brake cable through, you'll route it around, and then you'll put your brake switch on, because the brake can't go through here if this is in here. So then you'll be able to put this back through, and there you go. That's your complete brake cable side with the brake switch, brake cable sitting nice and flush, and you'll be able to put that back on the handlebar, and then we're going to show you guys how to route it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you guys how we routed the brake cable. There's a cable that you went ahead and drilled. As you can see, it sits nice and flush. It'll come up through there. There's a little bracket where you're going to run pretty much all your wires through. It's going to go down, down the frame, underneath of the gas tank. We kept the little bracket on the frame right here, so it's going to go through there, down by your CVT. We recommend putting a brake cable holder here that's going to help push this so you don't have slack back here. And it connects right through. You'll have to adjust this later on once you put your wheel and everything on to adjust your brakes. So for now, you could just leave it like that. Once everything's put together, you can twist this nut and adjust the pin here to move this back and forth to set your brakes. So we're going to go ahead and start on the throttle cable now. All right, so next we're going to be starting on the throttle cable. And we're going to use the PSP throttle for this. So let me grab the throttle cable real quick. So as you all know, it's a kind of like a clam style. So if you put your throttle in, this is how it's going to sit on the bike, and you pull your throttle this way. So there's two holes on here. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. You're going to put it on the bottom. So if I actually open this, you'll see how this works. You'll have little holes here, and that's going to be the settings to the throttle. So to start, we're just going to put ours in the middle, and you'll route through the bottom and put it there, because when you pull the throttle, it pulls back. So I'll go ahead and get that routed, and we'll start showing you guys how to put it on the bike and which way to route it. All right, so when you put your throttle on, both sides of the clam, you're going to want to put a little bit of grease in there. Like I said,
I did it with my pinky.
you're going to put this little hook through and then just rotate it back around, and that's going to set that there. And you can go ahead and close up the clam, and that's going to be your first position for your throttle.
All right, I'm going to be installing the gas tank cover, the frame splitters, and the side steps. So let's get started.
On your frame splitter, you'll see that one side has two tabs. On the frame, you'll actually see the tab where that frame splitter is supposed to sit through.
Then we're going to do carbon side steps. We think that it'll look nice. Add some character to the bike while still keeping the black vibe that we're going for. So this is the layout that we're going to go for. And I'm going to get the bolts and start screwing them in, and then I'll come back to you and show you the finished product. We installed the password gas cap cover on the OEM gas cap. And in order to do this, you have to shave. There's two tabs on it. To shave them off, we also spray painted it just so if there's any parts of it that was showing, we had it black just to make it look cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and install this. Also, there's some set screws on the sides of these, 3 of them.
All right, so next I'm going to show you guys how to install the front frame cover guard. It's pretty easy. It's just going to be a spacer and 2 M6 bolts. So the cover will come up through here, and you actually have a hole on this front side of the frame. I'll bring you guys around and I'll show you. Actually, you can see the hole. You'll put the M6 bolt through. You're going to take your spacer. Everything is Loctited. And then you're going to put that in. There you go. And you're going to put your front frame cover guard on with the last M6 screw to line up with that spacer. So put it in. There's kind of like a little hole you can actually see. You'll tighten that last bolt. Just like that. And then you'll just go through and tighten them with your Allen head, and it's good to go. It's as easy as that, and that really cleans up that front side of the frame. So I'm gonna let Savannah get back to you guys. We're gonna start on the rear sets next.
All right, next we're gonna be doing the rear sets. We kind of laid everything out just to make it a little easier on us and the install process. So we're gonna put the frame cap with the hole in here. And then a long bolt, flathead. And then it comes with a bunch of washers. We're doing the big one and then the small one in the back. And we're gonna just do this kind of loosely, just as like a test fit. We're not gonna be tightening everything down. But once we do, we'll Loctite it and everything like that. And then we're gonna leave this one here because we're gonna be installing the lowered kickstand. So with that being said, I'm now going to be doing the SMF pegs on this backside.
The reason that she's leaving this off is because we're also going to do a set of pegs up here. And if you do a set of pegs, you're going to have to use a stud. So we're going to loosely fit everything so we can get some measurements and then cut a stud to go inside of the peg and then go through to the kickstand side with a nut. So that's why we're leaving everything loose, so we can get some test fits, and then we'll know how far to cut that stud. And I'll let Savannah continue putting on that back peg.
Again, back peg. Comes with a washer, but we're not going to use a washer for it. But if you order the pegs from us, it comes with one. All right, and there you have it. So we're going to be doing the other side and getting the stud, and then we'll come back. Since we left off, we found the stud, screwed it in here with some red Loctite, went ahead and red Loctited this as well. Now we're going to install the lowered kickstand. This is going to go behind the frame with this little spacer. Then the rear set. And then the nylock. You definitely need some little hands for this. Don't worry, I got you. Okay, that got installed all by myself. Pretty easy. Don't need anyone's help. Gonna put the last peg on. Again, red Loctite. And then once I'm done with this, I'm gonna have Dakota come back through and tighten it with his man strength so that when someone puts their foot on here, it doesn't fall apart.
All right, so I'm going to be taking you guys on how to install the right side. This one we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to start from the bottom peg because when you do this top one, you can't really get this bolt through. So you're going to put the washer on, come up. You're going to have a spacer with a little recess, and it'll actually sit inside of the frame cup. Then you'll put your rear set. And here's the peg for it. I'm just going to keep that, screw that on. For now, we'll just keep this like a loose fit so we can do this top. You'll have the flathead, the longer flathead, and the frame cap. We'll put the frame cap in, move the rear set up. You'll have two different washers. One has a bigger hole, one has a smaller hole. You're going to do the bigger one and then the smaller one. Finished off with the nylock. So it's pretty much the same as the other side, just you're gonna do the bottom first and then the top, so you'll be able to get that peg in there. And then we'll move on to this peg down here. We're gonna head and had Savannah put red Loctite on the bolt. Just the same thing, bolt through, and then the peg.
And all of those had red Loctite already on them that I put on in the background of this. You want to make sure that you Loctite all of those bolts just so that when you put your feet on them, they're not slipping, falling apart, whatever the case may be.
So I'm gonna go through now and just tighten everything up, and we'll get back to you guys with the next part. All right, so we got everything all tightened up. I will say, whenever you guys are tightening these, you're gonna have to use a L-shaped Allen head to get inside of the frame. Also, if you are doing the rear sets, I highly recommend getting the V2 pegs. They have a bolt on the outside, so when you're turning this to tighten it, you can actually attach to this bolt, as before you'd have to use your hands and turn it. Over time, it's going to get loose because obviously your hand's not as strong as a ratchet. So I highly recommend these over the V1s. So we're going to go ahead and move the camera and show you guys. We're going to be installing the TRS ignition cover, and we'll move you guys closer to show you how it's done. All right, so we're going to move on to installing the ignition. You're just going to need a 10 mil. There's a little 10 mil nut over here. Once you break that loose, you can actually go ahead and just take the rest out by hand. This will slide off. So you just finish taking that bolt out. You'll take the TRS ignition cover, and as you can see, there's little dots on here that kind of align. So just put the middle dot and line it up with that. I'm gonna kind of get in here. I get in the way of the camera. And then you can just go ahead and tighten it. And just like that, super easy. Takes no more than a couple seconds. And as you can see, you put your key in here. Lines up perfect. That's gonna be on. That's off. And then push in and all the way down is lock. As you can see, it perfectly aligns. So we are going to take you guys back to the other side of the bike, and we're going to be installing the seat frame brackets and then moving on to the next video. Action, action, action.
All right, now we're gonna get back to installing the dwarf seat frame. Here we have it. First, we're gonna do this back one here with the nut already on there. Gonna get one of the small bolts with the dress-up washer. Again, Loctite it. You don't want to sit on the bike and it fall apart. We're just gonna put this in there. And we're gonna leave it loose just to make everything a little bit easier on us when we finish installing it. There you go. And then we're going to do these two over here. Again, two small ones with some Loctite. Dakota's gonna hold it for me. This is just gonna screw into one of the nuts on the frame. So you don't need any nylocks or anything like that. And I have a Allen. Again, we're not gonna tighten it all the way. Still a little bit loose. Okay, anywho, now that we got these two, again, we're gonna leave it kind of loose and go back and tighten it, and then we're going to be doing the right side of the bike. Okay, so we're going to just repeat what we did on the left side to the right side, but from a different point of view, so you're able to see these nuts that I'm screwing. Wait, I wanted to say that, but I gotta do it with a straight face and not laugh, so hold on. Alright, so we're gonna be installing the right side of the bike. Same way we installed the left side, just a different point of view so you can see these nuts. And we're going to start in the back. Again, a little bolt. A little bit of a lot of That didn't make sense. There's a lot of Loctite. Luckily, there's tape there. We're not going to do a super tight fit, just like the other side. Okay, now we're going to do this. I'm going to have Dakota come to the back and hold it for me. Again, don't forget to lock tight your bolts. It's very important. And voila!
All right, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to install the seat.
Oh.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to install the seat. We're just going to do a light install because we're going to have to remove it to install the carb and stuff, to install the carb. We just want to show you guys, everything put together so you still get a general idea. So once you put your seat on, you'll take the tail light, put it down so all the wires are out of the way. Just drop it in. So we're going to start off on the front. You're going to take the smaller of the two bolts, put that right into there. And Savannah's going to do the other side as I'm doing this side, so we don't have to go back and forth.
Tag team, back again.
So once that's installed, we left these loose because you want to actually be able to lift this up. It's not going to sit on the frame, so you're going to lift it up, move it up, and then once it's square, you'll kind of see through the hole. You'll actually be able to see that bracket. Put it in and screw everything and tighten it up. And just make sure that that bracket's actually straight, because it'll kind of move on you as you're tightening it. As you can see, the bracket's going to start moving itself inward. And there you go. That's how you install the seat. Super easy. Savannah's just going to finish up the other side, but I'm going to end it off so you guys can see it. I will say, if in the future you are trying to mess with your carb.
Give me that.
Oh, hold on. If you are trying to mess with the carb and it's kind of a pain to get in and out of here with your hand, if you loosen this bolt and then take this top one out, you can actually flip the seat forward. So you won't actually have to take the whole thing off every time. Just loosen this one, take this one off, you can flip it forward. But that's the seat installed. We're going to go ahead and get on with the next video. The next one is going to be installing the carb, tuning the carb, putting the jets in, stuff like that. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Can I have the thing? Bye, guys.